So we're going to learn how to write formulas for ionic compounds. We learned about elements that form predictable charged ions. Those were these guys in group 1 and group 2. What charge do the group 2 elements form?
Plus 2.
Plus 2, right? And over here in group 3 was plus 3. And these nonmetals, we said, well, you start at the far right column and you count backwards. So fluorine's -1, oxygen's -2, nitrogen's -3. Okay, so we're going to use that. In an ionic compound, this is getting to why isn't there a charge on that? Nitrate has a -1 charge. In a compound, you have a positive and a negative put together, and they're going to combine in such a way that their charges cancel out, or that they add up to 0. So the sum of the positive charges is always going to equal the sum of the negative charges. So how do we write these formulas? We can write formulas just knowing what ions are present, and we can figure out how many of each of them we need. So these are the steps, and then we'll do some examples, and then I think we'll call it a day. We write the symbol for both ions, including the charges. The charges are important because they're going to tell us how many of each we need. Then we're going to make the magnitude of the charge on each ion without the sign become the subscript for the other ion. Okay, this is like a cheater method. It's sometimes called crisscross. You take the charge of one and make it the subscript for the other. Works most of the time. And then, if possible, reduce those subscripts so that they're at the lowest ratio. Occasionally you'll end up with something like 2 and 2, and that could be reduced to 1 and 1. And then check to make sure that the sum of the charges matches up. So there's the steps for people who like steps. So let's look at some examples here. So the question might say, write a formula for the ionic compound that forms from aluminum and oxygen. So aluminum has a 3+ charge. We figure that out from the periodic table. It's in group 3. It's got a 3+ charge. Oxygen has a -2 charge. O2- because it's 2 columns over from the noble gases. So the crisscross method says we take this 3 and we bring it down here to make it the subscript of the oxygen. We take this 2 and bring it down here to make it the subscript of the aluminum. Okay, so this is a great shorthand way for people who, just don't like math very much. So let me just show you the more math-oriented way. So we've got Al3+ and we have O2-. Basically, what we need to find is the least common multiple of 2 and 3. The least common multiple of 2 and 3 is 6. So what do I have to multiply 3 by to get 6? I have to multiply by 2. So I need 2 of these, and I have to multiply 2 by 3 to get 6. And so I'll have 3 oxygens. And then if we look at the charges, 2 times 3 equals 6. So we have a total of 6 positive charges, and 3 times 2 equals 6. We have a total of -6. Plus 6 minus 6, when you put them together, they balance each other out. And so if that made sense to you, great. If it didn't make sense to you, crisscross. If you get the right answer on your own, it's fine. It's not, crisscross is not cheating. You have to be a little careful with the whole crisscross thing. And I would state those rules a little bit differently. So let's look at this one. Here we've got magnesium 2+. Magnesium is an alkaline earth metal. It's in group 2. It's got a +2 charge. Here we've got our friend oxygen, the 2- charge. They're telling us to crisscross these and then reduce this fraction. You can do it that way. That's fine. I would say, well, look at this one and look at that one. Are the charges the same? Yeah, we've got +2 and -2. Well, let's not mess around. Just shove them together and be done with it. We don't need to crisscross or anything. The crisscross thing was because the 2 and the 3 didn't match up. So all we have to do is write MgO, because if we have one of each of them, their charges will add up to 0. Write a formula for the compound that forms from calcium and bromine. So the first thing we have to do is write the formulas for the ions with their charges. You got to write the charges. So what's the symbol for calcium? Ca. And what's the charge on calcium? 2+. It's in group 2. What's the symbol for bromine? Br. And what charge does bromine have as an ion? -1. I don't write the 1. So then we look at these two guys and we say, oh, +2, -1. Those aren't the same. So we could do the crisscross thing. So we're going to put these two guys together. And we're going to take this 2, and that's going to come down here and be the subscript on the bromine. And we're going to take this invisible 1, and it's going to come down here and be the invisible 1 on the subscript for calcium. And we end up with calcium bromide. CaBr2. Are there other ways of thinking about that? Absolutely, there are. Any questions about that one?